which is like I think a very credible threat to like the way our government functions.
Yeah, like I said, I see what you're saying with the stuff Trump did, but with
Natural hetera, how's it going?
going good. How are you?
Getting over a sickness, but you know I'm getting along.
This is my first time ever being on a live on here.
Okay, good. I'm glad that you were inspired by my live.
Yeah. Are you do like Trump or you don't?
I hate Trump.
Oh, okay. I like him. I used to hate him.
What convinced you?
A lot of my friends were into politics, and I didn't know shit about politics. I just knew I hated Trump.
Hmm.
So just one year, I made a New Year's resolution to learn about politics, and it took me one night to completely I don't know, completely switch over. Really like him.
Well, I'd hate to. I don't want to sound like a dick or anything, but it's definitely gonna take more than one night to like refine political beliefs and stuff. Like the the way that we should engage with politics is like seeing how well people fit into our system, and it takes longer than a day to even learn how the system works.
I think for me, for me, it was easy just because, like I said, I didn't know shit. You know.
Sure. Was there like one issue that really got you over to Donald Trump?
Yeah, just a lot of what he was doing for the because I'm actually Native American.
Mhm.
A lot of what he was doing for Native American communities and what he was doing for the Black communities. That's what I kind of liked. So,
Okay.
and I seen like Biden's history on
Yeah.
crap.
Biden definitely doesn't have a good history with like rhetoric because he's an 80-year-old, so you know it happens. Um,
Yeah,
so here's the case that I would make. I'm sure you've heard about January 6th and everything.
yeah,
But I think that people don't really get the grasp of how insane January 6th was, and how much of a threat to the way that our country works that was. And I think it's easy to go over to Donald Trump because he's like pretty charismatic. He can say some funny things. And you know the Democrats have a big problem with charisma because a lot of Democrats come off as really preachy and really like tone policey. But I think January 6th was a really uniquely bad thing, and Republicans control our media environment so well to the point that it kind of got swept under the rug, and the importance of it kind of, you know, got lost in translation a little bit. Um,
mm.
and I can explain to you why I think it was such a big problem, but only if you're interested.
Yeah. Can I say super quick, and then I'll definitely listen to you.
Yeah,
Um, I'm big. I get all that, but I'm big on us all being responsible for ourselves. Like what one man does, that's on them. I'm not gonna like
sure.
put somebody else accountable for what somebody else does. Even if he did tell them, "Hey, go down there and do this. Go down there and do this." Like, so what? Like, you listen. You still did it. You're accountable.
So it's I'm not going to hold Donald Trump accountable for actually breaking into the Capitol or anything, but it's what that protest represented. So what happened was the 2020 election happened and Donald Trump lost. Um, Throughout between November of 2020 and January of 2021, him and his campaign had been spreading a bunch of lies about certain election fraud things. They were going to their intelligence officials and asking if these claims held any merit, and none of them said that they did, but Donald Trump was repeating those claims anyway, so like distrust in our elections. And then the reason that January 6th happened was because inside of the Capitol building is where Congress certifies the results of the election.
Yeah.
That's where they count the electoral college votes. So what Donald Trump did is he tried to basically submit like false electoral college votes, and he tried to get the vice president to count his false votes instead of the ones that were sent by the states. And when the vice president said no because that would be illegal, that is when the protesters broke into the Capitol to try and stop the certification of the election. And this was all like orchestrated by Trump and his campaign. So it was like an actual like credible threat to like the votes of these states. Like he was actually trying to like remove the say of the people in those states that he removed or that he sent in like false electoral college votes.
Mhm.
So like effectively saying like, hey, I know that I lost this election because all of my intelligence officials had said that, hey, I lost the election. But then he tried to get it overturned anyway. And when the vice president refused to do it, people broke into the Capitol to try and stop the certification of the election altogether,
Yeah.
which is like, I think a very credible threat to like the way our government functions.
Yeah. Like I said, I see what you're saying with the stuff Trump did, but with like controlling the people, that's not on him. I don't care what anybody says on that one.
I wouldn't say that like the individual actions of the people
Mhm.
are on him, but I would say that like the actual like attacking of the way that our democratic system functions is on him, because not only did he like command people to march on to the Capitol on January 6th, but he also did all of the other things of like actually trying to get the results of the elections flipped.
And he tried to do it illegally.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
when people talk about like his big federal indictment, that's what this was for.
Mm. Mm. How was did he go to court over this?
So the case never got brought to trial. First, because the Supreme Court offered down a ruling to Donald Trump saying that presidents have some sort of immunity for presidential acts. So then there was what's called a superseding indictment, where they just indicted him on the same charges, but took out anything that would conflict with the Supreme Court's ruling.
Mhm.
But it never went to trial because Donald Trump won the presidency, and the Department of Justice has a policy of not prosecuting sitting presidents. So he was indicted twice on it, which means that a grand jury found that there was probable cause to indict him, but it never went to trial because he won the presidency.
Oh, gotcha. I see. Okay. So how does that work? Like after his presidency, will they do that? Like restart it or?
Possibly. So, it's kind of in a gray area because we've never had a president indicted, so we don't really. And the Supreme Court ruling was like a very novel one in that, um, like it kind of invented things. Like the idea of presidential immunity isn't laid out in the Constitution, so there was no reason to really expect that to happen. So we're in like super uncharted territory right now. So where this prosecution picks up or leaves off is kind of a question still.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, all right, man. Thank you for being cool and respectful. I listen to other lives and they get crazy. So
Yeah, of course. I mean, I recognize that like I don't think you're acting in bad faith. You seem like a pretty honest dude, so I wanted to keep it pretty honest. Um, but yeah, I would say look into some of that stuff. It takes a lot of like learning how the government works, but once you do, it's like a mind fuck. It's like holy shit, like this is crazy.
yeah, for sure. I agree. All right, man. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I do.
That was nice. There we go.